Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today I thought I'd talk about what I like and dislike about the Ground War game mode in Modern Warfare. The last three Call of Duties have what I would call gimmicky game modes. You have the War mode in Call of Duty World War II, you have Blackout and Black Ops 4, and now in Modern Warfare you both have Night Maps, which is a whole other video, which maybe it won't be a video, it's dark and it's cool, but I don't know, I don't have much to say about it. But then we have Ground War. And Ground War is, yes, it's a gimmicky game mode, and just like War and Blackout, it's pretty derivative of other shooters that shall not be named. But that doesn't bother me, and that's the first thing I want to talk about. People are complaining about two different things when it comes to comparing this game to Battlefield. Which, I guess the shooter shall be named because I just used the name. So the people saying this is not as good as Battlefield because the vehicle mechanics are not as good, and there's no destruction, and it's not as well laid out. This is a side mode. This is a single game mode, okay? This isn't Modern Warfare. This is just a game mode within Modern Warfare. It's not even on a separate menu. It's Call of Duty's take on large-scale warfare. And yes, it has a lot of similarities to Battlefield, just like a lot of milsim games have a lot of similarities to Battlefield, but that's not really what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about who copied who, because I don't give a shit. I'm saying this is Call of Duty's take on it, and it feels a lot like Call of Duty. It doesn't drastically change up the gunplay. It doesn't feel dramatically different really in most ways. It's just if you took Call of Duty and put it on a larger scale and had some LAVs, ATVs, and Little Birds mixed in. That's really all it is. But if I was to argue against the claims that Call of Duty is copying Battlefield and that that's really bad, let's keep in mind that Battlefield 5 has put a very heavy emphasis on small team, close quarters engagements, and more team deathmatch style modes, smaller maps, and all of that, and you could easily say that they're trying to copy the speed and pace and veracity of Call of Duty and trying to move away from the more tactical, open, sandbox Battlefield that a lot of people are used to and still crave. And also, I'd like to point out that Battlefield has a game mode called Domination that is small teams fighting over 3 flags on a team deathmatch styled map. Battlefield has tried to tap into the Call of Duty market by having smaller team-based game modes that are more frantic and close quarters and fast-paced, and that's okay. H1Z1 loosened the lid on the Battle Royale genre, and then PUBG popped it off, and then Fortnite drank all the soup. Like, it's not crazy to see this happen throughout this industry. It's in an effort to please as many people as possible, and you might have some sort of arbitrary sense of integrity that these games need to have and follow through with, but that's dumb. And it's just good business, and honestly, you get some interesting innovations in the field. Either way, Modern Warfare's Ground War mode plays pretty well. No, the one map we have, I have a lot of gripes with, but overall, a Battlefield-style 64-player game with Call of Duty's gunplay and signature snappiness works really well, and it's a lot of fun. Now, I think I'd personally prefer this current map that they gave us with 40 players versus 64 players. I just think that'd play a little bit better. But we'll see when the full game comes out. But with 64 players, the performance on my Xbox One X was kind of chugging, and I'm thinking that Call of Duty really doesn't need to have another large-scale game mode that the console market, which is the majority purchasers of Call of Duty, really can't enjoy to the full extent. So I think they should do some optimization on that. Oh yeah, it also crashed my Xbox. It straight up turned off my Xbox. So yeah, optimization's definitely needed, and I just think it'd play a little bit better with less people. And the reason is the map we have here has a lot of close quarters engagements spread throughout it. You have big buildings that have a lot of different scaffoldings and boxes to hide behind and different levels and doorways to watch and put claymores on, and it gets really clusterfucky in those buildings and on those objectives in those areas. I think the game is its most fun when you're playing in the outskirts, sniping with long-range weapons inside or doing flanks and hitting the outside objectives, because the entire middle is just a clusterfuck, and I think it'd play a little bit better with less people. It'd be a little bit more manageable and a little bit less clusterfucky, because that's the best term for it, so I'm going to keep using it. But all of that frantic action in the middle is broken up nicely by long-range combat, people sniping from rooftop to rooftop, hillside to hillside, people crawling through bushes underneath trees trying to line up the perfect headshot on somebody sniping from the quarry walls. It's very cool, and it works way better than I thought it did. Now, is it as fleshed out as Battlefield? No. Keep in mind, it's a side mode. They're not reinventing Call of Duty to be more like Battlefield. They have a game mode in this Call of Duty that's more similar to Battlefield. And honestly, that's more than okay with me. I didn't think maps this big with this many people would work with Call of Duty's gunplay, but I have to say it's actually really fun. It's a fresh take. It's not supposed to be tactically realistic. It's not supposed to be the most realistic gut-wrenching, PTSD-inducing milsim experience. It's Call of Duty with a big map. Now, that being said, I really want them to add a realism modifier on this. If I can play Ground War with realism, or even better yet, Ground War at night with realism, where everyone's creeping around slowly and trying not to get hit even once because it could mean they're dead, that's cool. That'd be a pretty drastic shift from the normal Call of Duty formula, and in my opinion, it'd be a welcome one just as a side mode. Call of Duty can kind of tap into that insurgency market, which, insurgency is kind of a pseudo milsim. It's like arcade milsim, more tactical than tactical, kind of a Twitch milsim deal. And anyway, I think they could really tap into that. Tactical Twitch shooters, are not really a thing on console. Insurgency Sandstorm never came to console this year, and this should be, I think, like, we're almost gonna be a year from when it was originally supposed to come out on Xbox One and PS4, and we still don't have it. So if they can tap into that market, that would be great. Now, some people have complaints about the kill streaks in this game mode, and I do a little bit, but for the most part, I actually kind of enjoy it. It makes it more like Call of Duty than Battlefield. It's not trying to be Battlefield. Now, I think if there's a realism mode, I don't think there should be kill streaks. But in core Ground War, I think it plays okay. I think the best thing they could do to make Ground War a lot better, even with the streaks, is you need to speed up how fast launchers can be reloaded so that streaks are easier to take down, and you need to increase the amount of kills required for each streak in Ground War. If a UAV costs 4 points in Team Deathmatch, I want it to cost 5 or 6 points in Ground War. This would limit the spam because the game mode really shouldn't be about streaks, but I think they're a good incentive for people to stay alive and, it's fun. I'm sorry, Call of Duty's main grab over the years has been, if I do well, I get things to call in that make me do even better and even propel me higher on the scoreboard. Whether you like that or not, I don't care. It makes Call of Duty, and this game mode at the end of the day needs to feel more like COD than Battlefield, and we're already teetering pretty close to Battlefield. I think the kill streaks need to stay. Infinity Ward would just need to add a disclaimer when you're picking a kill streak that, okay, here's the cost of the streak, and then parentheses, here's the cost of the streak in Ground War. Less UAV spam is a good thing, less chopper spam, less VTOL spam, less airstrike spam is a good thing. And I think the only reason Ground War shouldn't have kill streaks is if Ground War is played with the realistic modifier. If it has the realistic modifier, no heads-up display, one-shot headshots, all of that, then yeah, get kill streaks out of there, it would make the game feel kind of cheesy. But I'm sorry, if I go and kill, 6-7 people, I think I should be able to call in an airstrike on a tank that's been shooting at my team all game. I think that's fair. At least as far as fair goes in Call of Duty, which at the end of the day, this is. Here's my personal bias before I end the video. Battlefield has not given me a modern military shooter since 2013, okay? And when me and my friends spawn up on a ravine and we're taking sniper fire and I'm loading up rocket launchers and trying to shoot tanks, and we're taking fire from a building and my friend's suppressing them with his LMG, it's just fun. And it gives me that Battlefield feeling in a Call of Duty game, which is surreal to say the least, but it's fun and it works better than expected, and I think it deserves a little bit of respect. If you don't want to play it, fine. I don't like Search and Destroy. It's a game mode that I avoid, and that's all this is. It's a game mode you can avoid. I didn't play Blackout because I don't like Battle Royale, so I didn't play Blackout. The War game mode got way too sweaty and way too clusterfucky for me in COD World War II, so I stopped playing it. And hell, that could happen with Ground War. But as it stands currently, it delivers an experience that is cathartic to come from COD, and it feels smooth and intuitive and consistent and also pretty poorly optimized, but that's the beta, and I hope they can fix that before launch. The game comes out in like a month, so I'm not going to hold my breath for too many fixes, but hopefully it doesn't crash my Xbox anymore at the very least. But hopefully 2 or 3 months into the Modern Warfare lifecycle, they really hit their stride with the Ground War game mode. There's something about the fast time to kill, more arcadey Twitch shooter bullet mechanics in this sort of large Battlefield-like space, and it just works, and somehow feels better to me than Battlefield 5 does. Part of that is the minimap. There's constant intel on the screen, and I like that. When you have 32 people on the enemy team, I think the game mode would become excruciating if we didn't have a compass and a minimap letting me know where to be and what to do. I don't feel overwhelmed. I feel like I can deal with situations as they come, similarly to how I feel when I play Battlefield 4. You might say that's not realistic, and I'm going to tell you this is Call of Duty. Anyway, that's the end of this video. My personal opinion is it scratches a cathartic itch for me. I don't think kill streaks need to be removed, but I think the amount that they cost should be increased. I think they should be easier to shoot down by buffing the launchers and their reload times. And boo-hoo, it reminds you of Battlefield. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't matter who did something first in this industry. It matters who does it better. It matters who's doing it now. It matters who's trying to make it better. And if you do it better, you're trying to make it better. If you're doing it now and you're trying to do your own spin on it, then more favor to you. I'm an FPS player. I love Battlefield. I love Call of Duty. And I don't mind them kind of touching tips a little bit. So, yeah. And I'm sorry, to put it bluntly, Battlefield left the market to be tapped into. Battlefield could have put a lid on it, but they didn't, because Battlefield 5 is not being handled properly. It's not even being handled well at this point, and I don't know who would argue against that. If someone comes in and tries to deliver a similar experience, even just as a side game mode, as a side project in a different game entirely that has its own game modes that are the actual priority, if they want to deliver the similar experience in a side mode, again, more power to them. I respect them for it, honestly. And it's hard for me to respect DICE right now with a lot of their decisions, both on the development side of the game and the marketing side of the game. Anyway, let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye. Pisses me off.
Oh my god. I jumped out of the APC, stared at an enemy, and then just blew up.
See him on the ridge up there?
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah. They're in the A building.
Headshot.
I got a hit on
Hey,
him.
Dylan. I'm on you.
Headshot.
Nice.
How about I do this for them? There's gonna be an airstrike hitting that any second.
Shit.
See ya, bitch.
Nice. Nice.
Kyle, did you walk and fall off there?
I jumped off and apparently it was too high.